Today we are addressing a topic that frequently comes up when one is just starting out in the world of Arduino and microcontrollers. It's a question that many beginners often grapple with. Which is better, original boards, generic ones, or clones? In other words, sometimes in our store, customers ask whether we recommend purchasing an original Arduino, a generic one, or an SMD, which can be much more affordable. At times, they also mention clones. So, what are the differences between all these? What implications can each have, and which one do we recommend most for beginners? Well, before drawing any conclusions or determining which is better than the other, we'll delve deep into analyzing each one. In the end, we'll provide a conclusion so each of you can make an informed decision. As I mentioned before, using the most famous Arduino board, the Uno R3, as an example, we'll look at the three most popular types of boards based on the same Uno R3 design. There's a fourth type, the clone, but we'll explain at the end why we aren't showcasing it in this video or why we don't have it. First, let's look at the original boards. These are Italian-made boards that have security seals indicating they are authentic and come directly from Italy, manufactured by the Arduino company itself. Next, there are boards that come in this type of packaging. They are packaged in an anti-static pouch to prevent any damage to the microcontroller. And finally, there's the SMD version, which also comes in an anti-static pouch and has a strip of pins on it. We'll explain why it's even more affordable than the removable micro or trough hole version. All right, let's start by examining the original Arduino. We'll open it up and see what's inside. At first glance, we can see that even the packaging of the original Arduino is much more attractive than the other two. Why? Well, there are several reasons we'll explore. Even on the back of the box, there are some fundamental technical specifications of the Arduino itself. Let's open it up. To do so, we'll use our scissors. Some people don't like this method and prefer to do it manually, but we'll proceed this way. Once opened, when we take out the Arduino, we need to note the following. Our Arduino comes with a small protective plastic case that has the Arduino logo on it. It's well protected from the bottom, and there's something I want you to notice that's very, very important. I want you to look at the printed part. You will be able to notice, even from the headers, that each one of them is labeled with the corresponding pin nomenclature. Whether they're PWM pins, the pin number, if it's GND, VCC, etc. It's standard connectors, it's microcontroller, and something very important that we'll emphasize when we get to the SMD, which is the serial communication chip that we can see here. In the case of the original Arduino Uno, it comes with the ATU16, which is a serial communication chip. Once we've installed the original Arduino software, whether from the Microsoft Store, App Store, or from the installer downloaded from the Arduino website, we no longer need to install any additional drivers because those installers automatically include the required drivers. Another thing to note is the bottom part, the silk screening, and the color of the Arduino. The quality on the bottom of the original Arduino is much higher than that of the generic Uno or a clone. It's evident that even the lettering is much more defined than on the other two. Regarding the entire circuitry, whether it's the voltage regulator, which is this one we're looking at here, a 7805, the capacitors, the 16 MHz crystal, etc., all the integrated components, including the chip, which is the ATmega 328, are the same on the generic board, the original, and the clone. The original chip, the AT-Mega, is always used. It formerly belonged to Atmel and is still called Atmel, but it's now owned by Microchip. This would be a very interesting topic to delve into if you'd like us to cover it. So that's a fundamental part. What else comes with our original board? In our box, there are also some small complementary stickers, decals that we can use, its user manual, and its warranty policy. All of this is included in the box. It's important that when you decide to purchase an original Arduino, the board arrives as I'm showing you, with the box, manual, warranty policy, stickers, and the Arduino with its protective base. This is to ensure that you can confirm it's truly the original. Why do I emphasize this? We've had instances where people come to our store looking for an original Arduino. So when we try to sell them the board and give them a price of $20 or $25 USD, they respond, "Why? I'm being offered the original Arduino at another place for $8 USD. Well, there are unscrupulous individuals who tend to sell a cloned Arduino because it has the same logos as the Arduino, and they market them as if they were originals. That's not right because the only way for an Arduino to be original is if it's manufactured by the Arduino company. Remember, Arduino is a company that operates on an open-source basis.
This means all resources for the development of the boards, all the designs for each of the boards can be found on their platform entirely for free, and you can use these even to create your own boards and, if you wish, market them. What is the only thing Arduino asks of us?
Arduino informs us that we can make use of their design, whether for commercial purposes or for our own developments.
The only thing they ask is that we do not use their name. That is, the boards we develop, which utilize the designs they share with us for free, should not carry the Arduino name, because doing so would be committing a crime where we infringe upon the intellectual property rights of the brand. So, all they ask is, do not use our name. And this is precisely what those who use clone boards do. They use the Arduino name without the boards being manufactured by the company itself and sell them as such. When Arduino detects such breaches of trust, they are not as harsh as other brands that might immediately take legal action. Instead, they send a cease and desist letter to the seller who commits these infringements. Why? To stop them from continuing the practice. Initially, they try to reach an agreement, requesting that the seller no longer engage in those activities. If you continue to trade with these types of boards despite the warning, you could be severely affected by international legal action. Another important issue is that when you purchase a cloned Arduino and use it in a project, you are also susceptible to an audit determining that the board you are using is not an original. If in your project or technical specifications you claim to be using Arduino boards, this could present a problem. In other words, by mentioning the Arduino name, you could also be committing a serious infraction. Therefore, it is very important to be careful about where you purchase your Arduinos. Make sure to buy from certified and/or authorized sellers by the brand. Okay, now let's analyze the next Arduino. The next one is the generic Arduino. As I mentioned earlier, this board shouldn't even be referred to as Arduino, which is why on our website we name it as Uno 328 card or AT-Mega 3228 compatible. This is because the board is based on the AT-Mega 328 microcontroller and has exactly the same structure and design as the original Arduino Uno, and it works with the same IDE. You can upload the same programs, and they function exactly the same. Thus, both the original Arduino and the 328 board operate identically, and there shouldn't be any issues with either one. Both can be used for the same projects and should yield the same results. So, where do the differences actually lie? All right, let's examine the printed part. If you notice, the print is a bit more blue, and right off the bat, the headers are not marked as on the original Arduino. If you recall, all the headers were labeled on the original. Also, the silk-screened letters we can see here are of lower quality, and the back has a design that's different from the current design of the original boards. Moving on. These generic quality boards are made in China, not in Italy like the originals. However, the serial communication driver also uses the ATU16. So you can be assured that, just like with the original, when you install the software either through the installer, the Microsoft Store, or the Mac App Store, you will be able to use your board immediately without the need to install any additional drivers. Alternatively, if you use the portable version of the Arduino software, you simply need to install the drivers that are included in the software's own folder. If you would like us to show you how to do this, please leave a comment. So, essentially, those are the only two differences. 1. It cannot be called Arduino. It is an ATmega 328 board. 2. The silkscreen printing is of lower quality. 3. Regarding electronic components, they have exactly the same components. There is no difference, so there won't be a longer or shorter lifespan, nor is it the case that the generic tends to fail more. However, we must be honest, the production quality of the original Arduino is much better than that of the generic one. Therefore, obviously, the generic is more likely to be susceptible to faults. Hence, when you purchase your Arduino, try to look for stores that offer a warranty. Typically, the flaws found in generic boards are in the soldering of the serial communication integrated circuit, or the pins. Beyond that, there aren't usually errors, but, as I say, these are very isolated and rare cases. Another difference is the packaging. It's just an anti-static bag. It doesn't come with a user manual or a warranty policy. However, a big plus is that it includes the connection cable. Therefore, when you buy a generic one, they usually always include the USB cable. Beyond that, there shouldn't be any difference. Of course, what also changes significantly is the price. The original Arduino Uno costs approximately between $20 and $25 USD, while the generic ranges from $6 to $12 USD. Moving on to the last of our boards, which is the ATmega 328 Uno SMD. This board tends to be much more economical than the previous two. Like the generic, it comes in an anti-static bag and includes a strip of pins, because in the central parts of the board, there are small holes where we can place our pins if we want to develop a board for this microcontroller. Another difference is that the microcontroller mounted on it is still the ATmega 328, but now it comes in SMD format. Another significant difference is that the serial communication driver is no longer the ATU16. Instead, it is the CH340. This is a Chinese serial communication driver, which also works with the Arduino IDE without any issues and can be used. The only difference is that you need to install an additional driver. Generally, this driver can be obtained from the website where you made your purchase. So, there's not really a big difference between the three boards, the original Uno, the generic Uno, or the Uno SMD. You can carry out the same practices with them, they have roughly the same lifespan, and they function in exactly the same way. What changes? Packaging is a very important factor. The original comes with better packaging. The silkscreen printing and the production process are of much higher quality. This is immediately reflected in the price. Another very important element to consider: remember that Arduino is open source, as I've already mentioned. Therefore, it's crucial that when we purchase an original Arduino, we ensure it is genuinely original because this helps continue supporting the platform. After all, remember that they make their software openly available to the public, which can even be used with ESP32 boards, Node MCU, and countless other IoT boards that have emerged in the market, all at no cost. Of course, we can make donations, and if you're able and it's within your means, please do so, because it supports this great project. But another way to contribute, if you don't want to simply donate, is by purchasing original boards. So, after this brief commercial message, let's take a look at which board I really recommend or which one we recommend more. If you are just starting out in the world of Arduino, don't have much knowledge of electronics, and think that you are likely to make mistakes or cause shorts, I recommend that you buy either the original or the generic, but not the SMD. Let me explain. If you happen to cause a short and damage the microcontroller on either of these two, you only need to look for the ATM Mega 328 integrated circuit. There are stores that even sell it with the bootloader preloaded. The bootloader is the system that allows it to communicate with the Arduino IDE, and you just have to remove the old microcontroller and mount the new one to have a functional Arduino again. In contrast, if you were to burn out the SMD one, you could replace it, you could make it work again, but it would be more complicated. You will have to find someone who can desolder the SMD microcontroller, mount the new one, and load the bootloader, or alternatively, obtain the microcontroller with the bootloader preloaded. Therefore, for this reason, I don't consider it a good option when you're just starting out, because if you happen to damage it, you will struggle more to get it working again. However, with either of these two, you just need to dive into the internet and look for someone who can sell you the microcontroller to replace it and get it working again. Now, as you're just starting out, you have to consider your budget. If your budget is really limited, meaning you wouldn't want to spend much because you're just learning, then the ideal choice is the generic one. Why? Because you will spend even less than half of what you would if you bought the original Arduino. If it gets damaged beyond repair, the economic loss isn't as significant compared to an original Arduino Uno, and at the same time you might feel a bit more at ease. Since it didn't cost as much, you might have more freedom to say, I can try or I can experiment more, without the fear of damaging the board. I consider this board ideal if you are just starting out. Similarly, if you are experienced and you know that your projects do not require the original board, then you can use the generic one without any problem. When you have a more advanced level and want to lower the production costs of your project, either because you will commercialize it or because it's a project in which you don't want to invest a lot of money, the SMD is the answer. Why? Because by then, you'll know how to handle the drivers, you'll know how to install the CH340, you'll be more careful with the connections, and you won't have as much risk of burning out your board. Therefore, you'll be able to handle it more freely without fear of damage. At the same time, you'll reduce your acquisition costs, and you'll be able to use it for any project you need. When is it better to buy the original Arduino? I see two main situations where purchasing the original Arduino is ideal. The first situation is if you want to treat yourself. This can go in two directions. 1. To support the Arduino project so that it continues to grow and improve. 2. Because you want to indulge in a luxury. Another situation where I would recommend using it is when you have a project that will be installed and in your specifications, you say you will be using an Arduino microcontroller. It's crucial if in your project scheme, in your project documentation, you mention Arduino and its board. Be careful. You have no other option but to use original boards. If you mention the word Arduino but are using a generic board, be careful. You could be subject to a request to replace the boards with original ones because you are using the intellectual property of the brand. On the other hand, if you mention the name Arduino and use the original Arduino board, you don't have to give anything to the brand beyond acquiring the boards through any legal means. In their terms of use, it's specified that you are free to use it in any project without the need to pay or give anything to them, as long as you purchase the original board from authorized distributors or through Arduino themselves. So that's the other situation. If you have a project where you specifically mention that you use Arduino as a brand. Regarding functionality, we've heard people say that they don't feel confident with the generic or SMD versions because they supposedly don't work the same, that some projects only work with the originals and not with the generics. Not even once have I encountered a situation where the generic Arduino lagged behind the original in terms of functionality. In all cases, they have worked more than well. So, it's really just a matter of perspective on what you're going to use them for. And once you know and determine whether you're new to this or what you're going to use it for, you should quickly analyze what's more convenient for you and make your purchase. We also encourage you not to buy cloned Arduinos. I tell you, it will be very easy to identify them. Look at the difference in the print. The clones will come in this type of blue that you see on this board. They will not come in this bluish-green color. The back will also be very different, and they will not come in boxes. There are even sellers who print very different boxes from the original ones and sell them as originals. So be very careful with that. Remember, they will always have their seal, come with features, include a warranty policy, and also come with their stickers. We greatly appreciate your attention, and I hope you found this helpful and enjoyable. If you liked it, remember to leave your comment and a like, and if you're not following us yet, don't wait any longer. Do it now. You can also activate the notification bell so you'll know when we upload a new video. Thank you very much for your attention.
Well,